Well, we'll record to where we are. Welcome to IJKL on this Monday morning, May 2nd. We are here to listen to Rabbi Akiva Mann tell us. This is one of the shortest titles of a program we have. It's called The Soul, and it is one of the biggest topics we can possibly imagine. And who better than Rabbi Akiva to walk us through it? Rabbi?
Thank you, Marcia. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and hope everyone had a lovely Pesach. And right after Pesach in Israel, you know, things get hopping. I don't have to tell you, but I'm going to remind you anyhow. That this week is the avira, the atmosphere, the air in Israel is just hopping with a lot of heavy soul, because today is Monday. Tuesday evening begins Yom HaZikaron, which is Memorial Day for those soldiers of the IDF, and terror, and also included in Yom HaZikaron is also terror victims since 1948 that have fallen in defense and in sanctification of the land. That's Tuesday night and Wednesday, and then Wednesday night, right from Yom HaZikaron, there is this like total absolute change, you know, transformation of consciousness from, as they say in Hebrew, miyagon l'simcha, from sorrow, from a day of sorrow and remembrance, right into Yom HaAtzmaut, right into a day of joy and celebration of the Independence Day of Israel, which puts Israel at its 74th birthday. 74th birthday. Can anyone relate to that? Just think of how, in relation to your age, how old were you when Israel, after more than 2,000 years, became an independent sovereign state?
I'm going to apologize in advance and say I wasn't born yet.
I was 16. And I remember dancing in the streets of the Bronx. Everywhere you went, we were dancing. 2 million Jews in the Bronx. I remember every moment.
Nice. I was 4. I was 4 years old. Just think of it and place yourself.
Were not.
I was 10 years old.
You were not 4.
Rabbi, I was 10 years old.
Rabbi, if Israel is 74 years old, you were not 4. I was sperm minus 5.
Maybe my math is wrong. Hold on for me. I was 5 then. I was born in 53.
So Israeli independence started when? What year?
48.
You were not born yet. Oh, yeah, you were born. My mistake. Sorry.
I was never good in math, but I wasn't that bad.
Excuse me.
Yes, I am.
Israel was born in 48. We were born in 53, the 3 of us. There's a 5-year gap.
Yeah, I was born in 43, so I was 5 years old in 48.
Right. Okay, so I just want you to place yourself in relation to the birthday of Israel, and
Apparently, we're incapable of doing that as a group.
Remind me, Marcia, 5 minutes before the end, that we ought to celebrate a little bit. So we'll see.
I will remind you, 5 minutes
We'll
of it. And Kim asked me to welcome, we have one person that I know of who is brand new, Cherie Calvort. Her picture is not up, but just so you know, there is at least one person in the room who has never learned from you before. So.
Okay, so welcome, Cherie. Welcome all of you and Cherie. Cherie, if you don't mind at any point, coming on to Zoom, unmuting yourself.
Hi, my name is Sherry Calvert, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, hi, Sherry, and welcome.
I'm Jordan Anderson. I'm also new to the show, so I want to introduce myself. Say hi.
Jordan, and so Jordan, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so friends, Marcia correctly pointed out that this is a very short title to this series, and I did that consciously and with a thought in mind, because I didn't want to embellish the soul with any adjectives whatsoever, because we could be speaking about the soul for not a series of 4, but a series of 400. And what I would like to do in this series of simply 4, maybe we'll continue by popular demand, is do a really deep dive on a personal level. There's so many aspects of the soul that I can be addressing. There's a lot of encyclopedic Jewish knowledge, wisdom on the soul. And what I plan on doing is dispensing with some of the peripheral knowledge that over the millennia has been collected and presented and also invented on the soul. And I really want us to focus in on the essence of what we mean by the word soul. What are we referring to? And I want us to capture that idea. So in our last series on the Guide for the Perplexed and Maimonidean thought, and this is important to revisit and reintegrate into our Kabbalists, our minds. We spoke of the absolute inadequacy of language to properly define and capture the essence of anything sublime, anything that is transcendent on nearly any level is absolutely, we don't have the tools, we don't have the capabilities through language to properly capture anything that is sublime, anything that is transcendent. So take words like God, a word like divinity, for let's say the Christian mind, take a word like Christ. Or for other traditions, a word like Brahman. Or a word like love. Even a simple word like experience. I had such and such an experience. All those words, friends, they defy, when you think of it, they defy definition. Because as soon as you attempt to define them, you defy them. You defy them. As soon as you try to put into words an experience, you are actually defying the experience, because you are never going to come close through verbalization to mirror the actual experience. So as soon as we use symbolic words and language are only symbols. As soon as we start using word and language, we automatically start confining and then ultimately distorting the true essence of that which we are talking about. Language is inadequate. And I'm saying right here, right now, the language that I am going to be using to try to bring deeper meaning to the soul is going to be inadequate. But words we must use. We can't get away from this. Words, therefore, we must use. And please forgive me for my inadequacies. So the inadequacy of language cannot be truer than when it comes to the word soul. Whatever I'm going to be saying or teaching on the soul is mamish only going to be a little scratch, a a very dim reflection. It's going to be truly, admittedly, a blind man, a blind man's eye view of the subject at hand. And so my only hope, friends, and wish is that the inadequate words that I'm going to use is only going to serve as some semblance of a springboard, some kind of window, some kind of launching pad for opening up our inner and personal imaginations or awakenings. I'm only going to be like dropping words and phrases that are going to help us to spring windows open so you can unclog some clogged areas, some dimensions in your mind or in your souls of the soul, of your soul, that might need a release. So I'd like to start with two concepts that I believe, and maybe it might be surprising for you that I begin with this, but I believe that this is the Bereshit, the beginning of any and all discussion about the soul. Two concepts that we have spoken about beforehand, but now we're going to like kind of do a deep dive into this. And I believe that these two ideas, they lie at the core of the Jewish perception of the soul, and for that matter, also lie at the core of existence itself. And the two words, the two ideas are duality and non-duality. These are contemporary words that a lot has been written about in the last 20 to 30 years, but really have their source in the oldest Jewish traditions, in the oldest Buddhist and Hindu traditions, in the oldest thoughts of mankind itself. Has to do with the central idea of duality and non-duality. And I'm going to at some point switch from these English words and introduce to you some Hebrew and some mystical language that our masters of generations before used for these two concepts. What does duality mean? We all know that. We all know the duality very, very well. We in Western civilization, we are absolutely steeped, if not drowning, we are certainly treading water in the world of duality, but one might say that we are not only treading water, we're actually drowning in the world of duality. Let me explain, and please let us very much feel and experience this world of duality. The world of duality, its premise is that our experience as human beings, all of us, our experience as human beings is divided into two essential ingredients. The first ingredient is the mind on the inside. Our minds on the inside, out of which we can obviously say out of which thoughts, feelings, emotions, images are made. That's a very large world. That's a very large world. It includes anything and everything that on the cognitive level, on the emotional level, on the anything on the five senses level that registers themselves through our cognitive or emotional selves, that is all called the mind on the inside. And the mind on the inside, of course, has a multiplicity, if not an infinite amount of levels to it. I can think on a shallow level, I can think on a deep level, I can feel on a very intense level, I can feel on a nonchalant level, right? So there are many levels within these planes that we are talking about here. So one is mind on the inside, and then there is matter, the world of matter on the outside, of which other people outside of ourselves, others, or objects, and everything else in the world are made of. So we have an inside mind world and then we have an external world. All of this is very obvious. This is all called, all of these two ingredients put together and put a circle around them. This is one category of existence called the world of duality. And in this world of duality, what often occurs is living in the world of duality creates a life similar to, I was trying to find a metaphor, an analogy, but the life lived in duality, I came up with it creates a life similar to a ping pong game. Ping pong going back. The ping pong ball is us. The ping pong ball is Ellen and Joan and Akiva and Miriam. We are the ping pong ball. And we when we live in the world of duality, our life, it seems that we are a ping pong ball constantly, incessantly reacting to external phenomenon. The world, so to speak, in the world of duality, the world is really banging us around from this experience to that experience, from a good one to a bad one to a mediocre one, bing, bong, bong, back and forth, day by day, week by week, year by year. We somehow get involved in our own world, in our own environment, and we are simply like going back and forth, and we are kind of at the behest of life itself, but life itself sometimes bangs us this way and that, and there is a constant going over the net. You know, like we're depressed today and we're overjoyed tomorrow, and depending on what happened, depending if I got a flat tire today, or I met a good friend, or I didn't meet a good friend, or the friend canceled on me, right? My life is incessantly going back and forth, mood by mood. And that happens in the world of duality. That happens because I consider the world to be something outside of myself. I consider the world to be something outside of myself. I know that I am I, but there is some sort of gravitational pull of the world. And what I mean by the world is everything around me, my environment, my society, my culture. Everything around me is the gravitational pull that either pulls me this way and that way, like a ping pong ball goes back and forth. There is this kind of gravitational pull that the world has on us that pulls us either one way or the other. And that's because I feel that the world is something outside of me. I am me, and then there is the world pulling me back, schlepping me back and forth. And that affects my mind, that affects my mood, and that affects everything that I am. It might affect what I think of myself eventually. In other words, the world of duality has a sense about it that it's sort of like the strings on my puppet self are being pulled by something outside of myself. There is a puppet master called the world of duality. There's a puppet master controlling me. It could be in the form of a person, it could be in the form of life itself. And that's the world of duality. And the world of duality, if we do not take control of it, the world of duality absolutely promotes in us a tremendous inclination towards expediency. In other words, I have to make things work for myself because the world is doing this to me. I have to make sure because of because a certain survival mode has been implanted in me. I have to create a sense of expediency. I have to survive. And expediency then turns into a certain sense of arrogance. There is a certain amount of arrogance in the survival mode, right? I don't think one can even have a sense of survival without a certain amount of arrogance. And then from that arrogance, we start developing a sense of selfhood. And from that sense of selfhood comes a very distorted sense of narcissism. So it's from a sense of, I'm trying to survive, I'm trying to be expedient, to the extreme degree. Once that starts building up and building up and building up, we can often develop a sense of expediency to survival mode that leads to a type of narcissism, to a type of idea about ourselves that I have to protect myself from the externalities of life to such an extent that I start believing that the only purpose in my life is me, is my own survival. Me viewing ourselves as an I, as a me, that is separate from the world That's duality. Me and the world will eventually turn out to be me against the world when taken to an extreme. Me and the world, that's the world of duality, will eventually turn into me against the world. That's the pleasant world of duality. Okay, comments, questions, disagreements? Knowing full well that we did not yet get to the second area, the brighter area of the world of non-duality. I just want to add one thing for those of you that have been in classes before. The world of duality, the world of expediency is what Rav Soloveitchik defines as Adam 1 in the story, in the Genesis story. Adam 1 is totally living in the world of duality.
Rabbi, we have
Yes.
Risa with her hand up and Susan. And go ahead and turn your mic off. There you go.
Hi, Rabbi. How are you?
Hi, Susan. Hi, Susan.
No, this is
Rabbi Susan, I should say.
This is Risa.
That's okay.
Risa, I mean.
That's all right. Can we use our soul, the way I found the way that you were expressing the external forces very interesting. And right away, the way that I believe the soul to be, the I, the ani, can we use the compass as an analogy to direct ourselves and how we're going to navigate those external forces? Are we the compass? Am I the compass for that?
Risa, right now, the compass, well, I don't know exactly what you mean by compass. Define compass.
Which, to operate the external forces, and I have to say operate because there's a lot of external forces up there, to point me directionally, and I know there's other things involved, to point me directionally to operate with the ani, using my ani.
So very good, Risa. So the guidance system that is going to help guide or help combat the consciousness of duality is going to be the next concept, is going to be the guidance system is going to be non-duality. Is going to be the aspect of non-duality that is going to help guide and temper this very, very strong yetzer, this very strong inclination that is built into our system, that is built into our GPS. Just because we are human, that's Adam 1. Adam 1 is a legitimate part of the human of the human condition. So the guidance system that is going to help guide and combat is going to be the idea of non-duality. And it is the non-duality that we are going to equate with the soul.
Okay,
Good question.
thank you.
Okay, Susan,
Turn off your
Hold on.
mic.
Yes, thanks, Rabbi. I just wanted to say that this was the sort of clearest and the clearest way of expressing how we are in the world, and I just want to thank you for it. It's helpful, and it's just very clear. It's clearer than I've ever seen it. And
thank you, Susan. I think it's important for us. Sometimes we stop seeing and we stop realizing the world as it is, the world in which we live. We take it for granted. We accept it. We accept it. We welcome it. We don't mind it. We have no problem with it. And having no problem with it is part of the problem itself. Not seeing the environment and this gravitational pull that is with us like incessantly in nearly every area of life, in every area of consciousness. This duality has its pull, has its dominance. For those of you that don't take like notes, like real notes, I suggest all of you to have a piece of paper and to take down word notes. And one of the words that I would be putting down if I was listening to this to describe the world of duality, all I would write down is ping pong ball. Is my life the life of a ping pong ball in general? Does the external world is my perception of my life from the external world? Am I a ping pong ball? And to what extent am I a ping pong ball? And to what extent am I allowing myself to be a ping pong ball? Marshalla, anyone hanging on?
Marilyn?
The extent to when I am a ping pong ball, if I don't like the person who's playing me, I'm in big trouble. I could have a very strong player who's going to whack me hard, or a gentle player. So I think a lot of that in life is luck. Who is pushing that ping pong ball?
Marilyn, very good question, but I don't want to get so deeply into the details of that metaphor. You know who the players are in my metaphor? The world and the environment around me, or the people around me, or no man is an island. So the two people at the ends of the ping pong ball is anyone and everyone, is my environment, the way I know it, the way I have been destined to be in, the world is playing me, is playing me the ping pong ball. And if I just want to extend that just for a bit, that if every one of us is a ping pong ball being whacked around by our environment, then every country, if you want to enlarge the metaphor, every country in the world, in one sense or the other, is also a ping pong ball being whacked around by every other, by the global community, being whacked and being strung along, being conquered, being blackmailed, being embargoed upon. You know, every country also is a ping pong ball.
Margot, was your hand up? No, but Donna's is, her virtual hand.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Rabbi.
Hi, Donna.
I think that individually is much easier to deal with than when you go globally and nationally and internationally. On an individual level, I think that once we become aware that life is a game and that we are participating in a game, we can choose to become more conscious, more awake, more aware, so that you're using the metaphor of a ping pong ball, so that the ball is not just a ping pong ball. We become an active player in this world of duality. I think that when we're not really aware that we are playing a game and that there is an opponent in the world, then we're not actively taking control of outcomes that we can control, which is why national, international is much harder, because our control level is very, very different. But individually, we can choose to look at life as the observer of life and see what is it that's really going on and how are we going to participate or not. And please correct me, change whatever you want.
No, I like it, because you know, in this metaphor, Adam won, the expedient one, the one who is forced into a being expedient and using the world around him or her in the best way possible, has a lot of choices. Even Adam 1. I'm not painting Adam 1 as a lowlife or an evil image of humanity. There is a very high level of what you just said, of taking control of my environment and making the mamish, the best out of it, and not to be pulled to any one extreme. You know, there is a great sense of that in Adam 1. Yes.
That
Now
seems
let's
to be it for questions for now.
Sorry?
I said that seems to be it for questions for now.
Okay. Now, Chevra, you know, hold on, because we're about to launch. We're about to launch the rocket. So hold on, fasten your seat belts and hold on to your chairs. We want now to enter into the world of non-duality. in the early Eastern tradition, in Sanskrit, non-duality is advite, which literally means not to, not to. It's very much it's very this idea is very very prominent in the Vedanta, in many ancient wisdoms. And the Hebrew equivalent of non-duality, not to, is ayin. Aleph, Yud, Nun, Sofit, ayin, which means not to, but it means nothing, nothing, or nothingness. And I want to relate to you a very old Sanskrit story, which I haven't found the absolutely equivalent to in Jewish tradition, but in lecture 2 or 3, we will come very close. We will come very close. But I like this story because it's a story, and it's about a father. I think those of you that have dabbled or that are mamish into, some ancient traditions outside of Judaism, in the Hindu tradition and the Buddhist tradition, are familiar with such stories, such fables that are deeply mystical. So it's a story about a father who sends his son out to become educated. And as we as parents, for those of us that are parents, all try to do. We all try to educate our children. We all try to educate those around us. So this father sends his son out for 12 years, and the son becomes educated with the local medicine man and the local philosopher and the local religionist, and he gets a very beautifully balanced, education. And he comes back, the son comes back after 12 years. And the father, who is a very wise man, asks the son, and friends, remember this story, because the end of the lecture is going to end with the same story. The father asks the son, after mamish going to the equivalent of I don't know, Harvard and Yale and Oxford, and like all of the great masters of wisdom of his generation. And the father asks now this mature, wise son, he asks him, did they teach you about that which cannot be seen? Did they teach you about that that cannot be heard? Did they teach you about that that cannot be known, yet without which nothing can be seen, nothing can be heard, or nothing known? Did they teach you, in other words, about ayin? They presumably taught you a lot about everything. But did they teach you about ayin? About that aspect of life that cannot be seen and not be heard and not be even completely known, yet without which nothing can be seen, heard, or known? I can end the lecture right there. Marcia, you're on my top left. No, Donna Levy, but Donna left. You're at my top left, so I can't see everyone at one time, although I do see all of you. But I speak to Marcia now. I'm going to put her on the spot for a second, because Marcia is the consummate scientific, rational mind. And she's known to all as that. She's known as that. And I need your interpretation of this koan, this parable that speaks to a father from a son, asking him, okay, Mazel Tov, you know it all. You know all of the contemporary knowledge that is available to us at that time and in this time. But did they teach you about that which cannot be seen, cannot be heard, cannot be known, yet without which nothing can be seen, nothing can be heard, nothing can be known? In other words, the Father is saying there is something behind all of this knowledge that they might not have taught you, that cannot be seen, cannot be heard, cannot be known, but without which nothing can be known, nothing can be heard. So I want your take, and it's going to be from Marcia's response to that. Like, what do you think about that? What do you think? What does the rational mind of Marcia Braff think about something that cannot be known and cannot be seen and cannot be proved and cannot be heard? What do you think about that?
Nita
Because
has,
this is what the wise father is saying, you know, One thing they must have left, because the sun remained silent. No, they did not teach me that.
Nita has two hands up. I'm hoping she wants to take.
No, I'm
No,
asking
tell me.
you to be the representative for the other side of the ping pong table so we can continue our game.
Okay. Your positioning me here makes me want to come up with the right answer, but I'm going to resist that urge and just say what I.
Yeah, please don't come up with the right answer, please.
I know.
I beg of you.
And that's my answer, is that I don't have the breadth and the depth of education and knowledge of the world and all of its facets, the science and the philosophy and literature. Obviously, that's not what I possess. And I came to your class under duress from Barbara Weinberg, because I have since a very young age wanted to understand that which cannot be seen or heard or understood. And I asked questions and I got answers. I got answers from my dad, and none of them satisfied me. And I guess that's what faith is. I stopped asking. I have a card that says, when she stopped searching for the answers, I have this on my wall, they came and perched upon her shoulder. I guess maybe that's where the separation of me from the world, where finally I've come to a place where that part is what I live in. And the only way I can live in it comfortably is to also be in the world of non-duality, even though I know nothing about it. Just trust that it's there. From the very first class of yours that I was in, and you know this, I went, I don't know, but I think I'm supposed to be here. I think I'm supposed to get whatever I get. And I'm not going to try to quantify it or answer it, or because it can't be. And animals don't think about whether they are part of the world or not part of. They do live to survive, but they don't analyze that. They don't know.
They do not have a conflict between duality and non-duality.
Right, they don't have that. They live in the same world we live in, but they don't have a conflict between the two. And at some point, for me anyway, it's just, I don't know. I'm not meant to know, and that's okay. The only peace and comfort there is in, although I don't believe in God per se, is to let go and let God. There has to be some relinquishing of being in control, even though as human beings, we have the capacity to control our environment from a physical and a logical sense.
Beautiful. Okay, Marcia, beautiful. You know, in simple language, this is how like my mind interprets this beautiful parable. The father was trying to teach his son at that moment, when the son comes back and says, mamish, like I mamish understand, you know, I've gone through 12 years of educating myself about the world. The father is trying to impart to his son, did they teach you about that which cannot be seen? Did they impart to you a land? This is what it means to me. Did they impart to you a landscape within yourself, within your own mind, a landscape that is transcendent of all of your knowledge? Did they impart to you the idea that something that cannot be heard can be heard? In summary, did they impart to you the transcendence of your own being? Or is your own being absolutely connected to what you know and what you hear and what you see? Are you inextricably interconnected to your own Adam one self? Or did they impart to you a window of ultimate, infinite knowledge to hear what is unhearable, to see what you cannot see?
We have some very eager and patient people with questions. Are you ready for them?
Yeah, Marcia, just hold on one. So what the father is asking the son, I say, in summary, did they teach you to see your soul? That's what he was saying. That's how I interpret those things that we cannot hear, that we cannot know totally, that we cannot hear totally, yet without which nothing can be seen, heard, or known. That is what we are talking about when we speak of the soul. The soul is that I don't want to say thing. I'll talk about that later. I don't want to call the soul a noun. It is not a thing. It is a capacity. It is a capacity within ourselves to hear what is unhearable, to see what is unseeable, to pronounce what is to pronounce what is ineffable. That is the soul. The soul is the thing that transcends the sum total of our capacities. Okay, go. So in this parable, I think within this parable is the definition of the soul. So go.
You sure? Nita. And Nita, your microphone is still off.
Okay, I say the answer is life. To live life, then your soul is acting as part of your life. You see, you hear, you think, you feel, and that is what the world should be, life. It's a simple answer. That's my answer, and that's how I feel.
Nita, I love it. I love it, Nita. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Shabri, who I learned so much from at the first Shabbaton. I sat down and ate breakfast with her.
Oh, my goodness.
in Canada.
This is quite a wonderful teaching. Rabbi, can we call it absolute reality? You don't want to call it a thing. It's not, absolute reality is not a thing. And I totally believe that we cannot be taught that. It's something that grabs hold of us, shall I say it that way?
Absolutely right.
Grabs hold of us, and the recognition of it is the teaching. And where's the teaching coming from? I believe it's coming from that place that doesn't have ears and eyes and nose and everything, but we are that. We are that. And that recognizes that. And also, I want to also say that Marsha, I think, said it's not meant to know. I beg to differ. I believe that we are here to know. We are being given the opportunity to know absolute reality. It doesn't come easy, though. It might take hundreds of lifetimes. I don't know.
Shabri, I hear very clearly what you're saying. I love it.
Thank you.
So that's the secret. I haven't lived enough lifetimes. And next up, we have Rabbi Cantor Risa.
Boy, you gave me some food for thought. I can't even speak right now. I like to bring out one thing, and I don't know if this has anything to do with it. The parable has always been mind-boggling to me. I heard it as a staff member from a rabbi in residence at Camp Ramah many years ago, and I had my head spinning, and now it has my head spinning again, integrated with what you have been speaking about today, which is ever so beautiful. But this is what I believe. The word olam, part of the phrase le'olam va'ed, forever and ever. The world is forever. There is no end. There's no beginning. It's a continuous circle. Our lives are a continuous circle. I integrate that with the parable because that which cannot be seen, that which cannot be heard, that which cannot be felt or known is something that I don't think really I will ever fully know. I think it's a forever struggle. I don't think it's something that we can ever really learn. And that's where that phrase that I learned from you today, thank you, the ping pong ball. We are being whacked around every which way, not just from the external forces hitting us from all directions, but us trying to figure out these external forces. We cannot, I believe, we can not all see, feel, hear, figure all this out. It's because the continuous external forces never stop. Therefore, how can we learn?
Oh, wow. Risa, just stop right there, because what you just expressed was like absolutely brilliant. Just one sec.
I'm sorry.
Let me meditate for a sec.
It was very emotional for me.
Because the leap that it takes to jump out of duality consciousness between this type of consciousness, between the ping pong consciousness, the leap that it takes to jump over and not be in the ping pong game is exactly what we are talking about. So to an extent, you are correct that somehow, as we remain human beings and in a very earthly domain, we have to maintain the ping pong game. But the non-duality gravitational pull, when we start adapting to it, when we start realizing it, you know what? The ping pong game is going to continue le'olam va'ed. But you know what? It's going to be a different ping pong game.
Yes.
So le'olam va'ed does not mean we are perpetually stuck in this gravitate. No, we can, the non-duality perspective of the universe, and then of the world, and then of our society, and then of our families, and then of ourselves, the non-duality influence is going to free us of the old ping pong game and create a different ping pong game, which is going to be for, I guess, hold on, I'm looking at the time, I guess for next week. right? We haven't finished with non-duality. How non-duality, how ayin, how viewing the world instead of black and white, viewing everything around us as a no thing, is going to release this ping pong ball into the air like you've never seen before. A type of freedom, a type of, right? So
Shalem, I call it shalem. We find peacefulness.
right. So we're going to see how that comes, but the point is we are not stuck le'olam va'ed in this very dense world of duality. We can retrieve ourselves. In Hebrew language, we can redeem ourselves into higher levels of understanding, to know the unknowable, to hear the unhearable. It's an unbelievable. It creates a vast, an expansiveness of mind. All one has to do is to leap over and change our own ping pong game. So we'll get into it. Marcia, what time is it? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
Can hear from one more person.
Marilyn.
Donna, no, Donna has that.
Okay.
Just tell me, Marcia, just tell me what time it is.
It's
1:23.
1:23. So
Okay, so
your
so
call.
after
I'm gonna-
whoever is on, and then I just gotta sing something.
I'm going to make it short, I think. So it goes back to what I had originally said. The more awake that we are, the more we get to choose what team we're playing on. So there is always an opponent, but if we're not aware that there's an opponent, we don't get to choose how we're going to play the game. So I think that our awareness and choosing the team that we want to represent is one of the most important things to do. Somebody said, I think it was Shabri, that we're always going to struggle. One of you said it. And I would like to say that there's a struggle versus an embracing. It doesn't have to be a struggle to embrace that which we can't see, hear, feel. But it's a
Donna,
choice.
the response, the answer is embrace. But you are correct. But my dear friend, to get out of that struggle is a gigantic move.
I hear you, Rabbi.
Before one gets to embrace. Embrace is mamash a high level.
So between the struggle and the embrace is a choice and an awareness. So first comes the awareness, then you get to choose, and then you become aware again and again and again and again. I fall asleep constantly. I have the knowledge, the wisdom to some extent, but I fall asleep. I become lazy, so I'm not a choice anymore. I become just.
That's what I want. That's what I wanted to point out.
Right.
The transition between
it's a constant though.
Ping pong game is we fall asleep while
we're
we
playing.
are, and that sleep can last for decades.
But the point on this note, the point that I want to make is that it is a choice that we're given free choice. Start with that. It's a choice we have to make over and over and over and over again. It's not that you turn on the light and it's on forever. It's constantly a choice.
May I?
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
And I don't believe that we ever know in this lifetime or in any of our lifetimes absolute reality. I think that that's an evolution. It's not, I mean, I think,
And
with all
I'm
due respect,
sorry
I think it's almost
to
average.
say this, but I'm going to make the choice to
I
hear
will
more
mute
from you-
myself.
hear more from you next time because you're fascinating. And Akiva, I think everybody would be willing to, listen for as long as you want to sing. But you have 3 minutes.
Talk about world of duality.
More like dodgeball than ping pong, but
You can take all you can take all the time in the world, but you have 3 minutes. Like, great.
I have a question. You cannot teach how someone will react at the moment. How do I know what I'm going to do until the moment comes? As an example, I see 2 men starting to argue in a parking lot. I can just keep going, or I can stop, which I did, and say, would you please stop arguing, get in your cars and work this out. We don't need violence. I don't know where that came from me, but it was there at the right moment and the men stopped fighting. How do we know how we're going to react in any given situation? No one can teach you that.
Rabbi, I'm going to suggest there are other hands up. I'm going to need to be Kim and ask you
Marilyn,
to
Marilyn,
respect our timeline.
Marilyn, I promise you, over the next week, I will ponder that question and start with my response to that question in your honor.
Thank you very much. This was wonderful. Thank you. I'll look forward to it.
Allah